Welcome back to another edition of The Mind of Opex. Now, what is actually that happens when I put my mind to something and I put it onto YouTube? What is that process? It's called thinking. I know that's tough for a lot of people because what do most people do? Come on, think about it. Making you think now. That's actually the topic today. So what does most people do to put a YouTube video out there or to put information out there? They usually repeat. There is little to no thought process possible. It's generally, I heard something, this is my thoughts on it, which is basically repeating, but just taking your own take of repeating. This could be watching television, right? A lot of people watch television or watch somebody, like from the left or the right. Let's just go with that paradigm. You see the anchor man on Fox News. He has a great whatever he said. And it's like, wow, this goes exactly with the right-wing bullshit I've been brought up with my whole life. Then another person might be like CNN, the anchor woman, let's just say, and she had everything to say about feelings and blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, that's what I want. You know, equal justice or whatever. What the fuck? I don't even know. But then people go onto YouTube or whatever platform they want to go on, whether that be just being social amongst their friends or at a bar or whatever. Whatever the case, when they spew this nonsense back out, what do? They repeat talking points. Shit. The anchor person, the anchor man or anchor woman on TV, they're repeating too. This isn't unique individual thoughts. Rather, it's a repetitive regurgitation on command or read off a teleprompter type of scenario, right? So no one is thinking in that process. Therefore, what is happening? Indoctrination of people, right? And this starts at a very young age. Your parents tell you to, well, they teach you, right? How to walk, how to talk, right? How to piss in the fucking porta potty or whatever, I don't know. On the toilet. Teach you how to use the toilet. They teach you all these things, right? And then you all of a sudden go to school and they're like, nope, you got to raise your hand to use the toilet. You need to, you can't talk unless you raise your hand and I call on you. You know, basically teaching you how to sit down and shut up. And I think that's a real bad problem because what you're doing is you're creating indoctrinated slaves. There's no unique thought. What happens is they teach you things and then you got to regurgitate it on command. There is no thought, there is only memorization. And that during that memorization process becomes belief, right? Like this is actually true because it's coming from a source of knowledge or power, right? And then you get graded on how you regurgitate things, right? Hitler killed 6 million Jews on the test. How many Jews did Hitler kill? 6 million. Not allowed to ask questions. I know I've said this a million times on my channel, but when I was, I'm trying to remember exactly what grade, because I don't remember teachers and grades and stuff. That was fucking almost 30 years ago. But let's say 5th or 6th grade, you learn about the Nazis or whatever. I think even younger. I think I was maybe even 3rd grade. I don't even remember. But I remember asking the teacher questions about Hitler killing 6 million Jews. Because I'm thinking to myself, Hitler killed 6 million Jews? Why do I have to know that? That doesn't even make sense. One guy killing 6 million Jews, not one of them just wanted a one-on-one fight? Wait a minute. This is how they did it. Gas chambers and shit. Okay, well, how did you get him to the gas chambers, you know? So at a very young age, I was thinking. In fact, even when I'm hanging out in a social circle, I'm not generally speaking like I am right now, where I'm just talking. Generally, I'm thinking. I'm taking in information. I'm thinking about information, how information is moved. I'm meditating at all times. When I'm driving a truck, yeah, I have a lot of responsibility driving this truck, but I'm thinking at the same time. I'm meditating. I think a lot. And the problem with me thinking, especially to society, let's say, which this is brainwashing to think this way, is that I might not be an obedient slave with them, and I might go out and not bring any value to society because I have my own thought process, my own unique ability to think and my own unique conscious desires and motivations and stuff, which is very unique, and it's not something that everyone else has. Therefore, my uniqueness becomes an individual, which a lot of, even as children and kids, you aspire to be something different, right? That's why kids would act out in different ways, trying to show that they're different, they're not the exact same person, that they're trying to stand out. They might be a class clown, they might dress in a certain way, baggy pants, I don't know. When I was a kid, there was always that kid that would dress in like a size 64 pants. And I'm like, what the fuck? That, you know, it towers over their feet, and you can't even see their feet or their legs. And they just wore a belt, and they were just wearing huge pants. I don't know why that was such a thing in the 90s, but you know, when I was a kid in the 90s, that was the fad. You know, and people are just trying to stand out. They want to be unique because we're brought up into a world to think like everyone else, to get good grades, to be uniform in the matrix, and have no unique individual thought. They want to put you in a box. They want you to not question anything. Because if you question things, that becomes philosophy. Philosophy is scary to those who want to control you, right? So the only way to get out of being controlled as sheep, this could be through the state, this could be through your parents, this could be through religion, right? The only way out of that paradigm is to ask questions. And how do you ask questions? Philosophy, thoughts. You think about what it is that you're doing. For example, a detective would be seen like if you start doing detective work in your own life, that is a form of philosophy. Because what you're doing is you're saying, okay, this is what happened. Like, I think I said something like this before, I'll just use it again. If you're a hunter, you're going to play detective work trying to find that deer or whatever it is that you're trying to find, right? The reason being is because you want to hunt that deer and you want to get to the goal. And the average person would be like, well, I'll just wait for a deer. Well, there's tracks, let me follow it, right? But how much are you thinking into it, right? The more you think into it, the more successful you're going to be. This goes with every aspect of life, but we're just going to go with the hunter type ideology or situation. So you're crossing a road, you have your crossbow or whatever, and a deer comes, you see deer tracks going across the street. Now, there's a billion different things you got to factor. Who, what, when, where, why, how. Right? Those are the general gists, and then branching off of each individual one that I just mentioned, which is all questions. Who? It's a deer. I can tell that's deer tracks. Right? What is it? It's deer tracks. I don't know. Who, what, when. So this, you know, it's not snowing right now, but it looks fresh, kind of. I'd say probably 2 hours ago. You know, and then you figure out things, and you're like, okay, so there's one deer. There's another track over here. Or these two deer went around the same tracks. Or there could have been a whole herd of deer, or whatever, right? And then you figure out where they're going, and then you'll have more information to figure it out and get to the conclusion and set up your shot, right? This requires thought. This requires problem solving. This requires variables. So then you got to take into account variables. Like I said, how long ago was that footprint there? You know, it snowed an hour ago. Now it's not snowing, but that looks fresh because there isn't snow on top of the footprint or whatever, right? So there's problem solving, there's thought process, there's variables, there's other things to consider. And if you are indoctrinated, let's say you go into school and you're not thinking, well, this is going to rub off your whole life into every aspect of your life, right? So the way that you think can alter your destiny or alter your relationship with destiny, right? The people that are more deterministic are those in which believe, well, let's just say what determinism is. It's saying that everything's linear, you have no free will, and things just go the way that they go. Well, this works if there's no conscious thought, right? The way that you shape and change your destiny is through thought. It all starts in thought, right? But if they have you a robotic state from grade school, hold on, let me see if this is closed or not. Yeah, it's closed. Good, because I hate stopping at way stations. So, it all starts here. So when you're a kid and they're teaching you to sit down and shut up, listen to us, so then you're already pledging allegiance to the flag every morning, then you're listening to your teacher, and you got to believe all the history that they've ever spewed out without question, because once you question it, you might fail that test. You might have to repeat a grade, and then you're going to be in school even longer, and school sucks, right? So you are required to not think. Now, I know what some of you guys are probably thinking. Well, there are some aspects that require thought, like mathematics and stuff like that. Numbers are designed to numb your mind. I know that I've said that plenty of times in the past. Numbers, look at the root word of numb. Now, do me a favor. If you have a job that requires you to stare at numbers all day, just tell me, right in the comments below. If your job is to look at numbers, whether you're an accountant, whether you work at Home Depot and look at SKUs all day long, numbers, stare at those SKUs long enough, your brain goes numb. You don't get more intelligent, you get dumber, right? Numb your mind. It's designed to numb your mind. This is, when you say numb, you reduce the ability to think if you're numb, right? Mathematics are important, especially when you add letters into the numbers, right? Like 7x plus, you know what I'm getting at, right? So the point is that school is designed, even when you're thinking that you're thinking, you're not really thinking. This is all memorization. So when you're at a young age and you're constantly repeating, repeating what you're told, and you're regurgitating onto a test for a number, right? Certain high number, you get to graduate, right? And this becomes your way of life. You don't get taught how to garden. You don't get taught nothing in school that matters in real life. You know, you really don't. I know that some of you guys are thinking reading, writing, and arithmetic. Sure. Okay? You learn that shit by second grade. What's the other 10 years for? Let alone college. You guys got to think about unschooling. Unschooling helps your kids think. I have put out information on unschooling on my channel. We'll do that in another later process. I want this to be short and sweet. You graduate. You start finding out the real world, getting a job, things of that nature. Maybe going to college. But then it comes a point where you don't really have a desire to learn anymore, because you figured, especially a lot of people that graduate high school, that's all you need. You stop learning. And I know that you guys know what I'm talking about. People generally stop learning after high school because they're like, oh, I graduated, get this out of there. You know, I might go to a trade school and learn something specific, like a specific trade or something, or a specific degree in college or something like that. But your desire to learn is gone because you are taught what to know rather than taught how to think. Unschooling would fix that again. But general gist is people stop learning. And what did Albert Einstein famously say? Once you stop learning, you start dying. There's a famous quote. I don't know who first said it. Famous quote says, most men die at the age of 25 but aren't buried until 75. Feel me. Most men die at 25 years old but are not buried until 75. I'm going to let you have that linger in your mind. No reason for me to explain it, because then it defeats the purpose of the video. Think. So, let's go on with the idea of you're out of school, you're not really thinking for yourself, you're just trying to do the exact same bullshit that your father did in the Matrix. Slave to money, slave to taxes, you're getting extorted. No one's thinking about it because everyone else is getting fucking fucked up the ass, right? You're not thinking, no one else around you's thinking. It's kind of harmful to think. General discussions like this, like that's even 15 minutes long right here. How many people that clicked on this video right now made it this far? OCD is rampant. I gotta do something, get my mind going, because you can't think for yourself. ADD. No one's training you how to think. They're putting information on you and have you regurgitate it. 5 plus 5 equals 10. Now, on the test, 5 plus 5 equals 10. How long did that take? A second? Most people cannot manufacture thoughts deeper than 4 to 5 seconds. Let that weigh on you for a second. Most people cannot manufacture thoughts for longer than 4 or 5 seconds. This is most people in the world. They can't do it. So, if I was to ask you, oh, well, Conor McGregor's about to be fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov. I can't even pronounce my favorite fucking fighter's name. Nurmagomedov? Okay. Skip that, because I'm just going to embarrass myself. I can't pronounce a name, because I don't even remember it. Conor versus Khabib. Let's think about that. How do you see that playing? Well, Conor has a great left and right hand, actually both. Great power punch. Khabib has great wrestling. It's going to be a good match. That's as far as the dumbasses can think. Well, against this fight he did that. It's visual memory. It's specific memory. That is it. There isn't unique thought. There isn't, well, if, unless you're truly a trainer or something, right? Or if you're a philosopher, or if you're someone who can think longer than 4 or 5 seconds deep into something. Then you can actually derive, okay, Conor has a billion different ways to win. Well, really just knockout. Khabib has a trillion different ways to win, mainly by wrestling. But how would it play out? And then you think, and you determine. You do the who, what, when, why, where, when, how, I don't know. And then you also do variables, situations. Well, if this happens, and then you put a percentage to it, and you think about it, and then you use the philosophy of both fighters. Conor's been out for a while, Khabib's been on the grind. Was there a hole in Khabib's game last fight? Blah, 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 right? Like, we can talk and talk about it. And some people can talk about it, but most people can't. Most people, let's do that again. Conor has power punch, Khabib's a wrestler. It's going to be a good fight. Oh, who do you pick in it? That's not thought. If your thought is less than 5 seconds, that is not thought. You need to exercise this, or else you're going to be subject to something called television. See, at a very young age, I was thinking. My consciousness grew. I've talked about this in my past. I've had about 3 huge increases in consciousness in my life. And I've had consciousness always going up my whole life, I've seen spirits since the age of 4. I've been able to read auras. I've been able to astral project. I've been able to use astral sight. I've opened my third eye. I've done so many things. I've thought deep. I've thought about different superpowers that I could probably accomplish, like floating and stuff like that. I've never tried floating, but there was a period in time I was certain I could. Let's get that out the window, because some of you guys are like, oh, okay, you're done with the woo bullshit. But this all happened from thought. because I was able to bring my thought to the next level, I was able to master my mind. I was able to use my mind to grasp things that would normally be out of range if I didn't think. Right? It all starts in the brain. Now, think of a Conor. I remember watching Conor McGregor, and I watched this YouTube compilation of Conor saying how he manifests thought into reality. And there's a compilation of all the things, like, how did you think you were going to win? Well, I played it in my mind, and I made sure that there was a way to stop him with my left hand. You know, I knew that he was going to go to the left, and then I knew I was going to do this. He was going to go with the right. I was going to go overhand with the left, or whatever, right? I saw it play in my mind. And then I have a deja vu in the ring, because that is exactly how I saw it happening. So it manifests through thought to make something happen. Now, this is called the power of intention. If you intended that to happen, you saw it happening, and you made it happen how you pictured it in your mind, it will manifest. Right? So there is free will, and it all derives from thought. Nothing happens without thoughts. Why am I a truck driver? I thought it through. Why do I have a good truck driving job? I thought it through. I had a thought, everything that I ever applied for and talked to recruiters. Oh, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be doing that. And then the thought manifests, how would this play? And I have a picture in my mind, and I think in deep of how that would play. And I'm like, fuck that. I find this job, and I think about it, I'm like, this is something good. I can see myself in guess what? Guess fucking what? It materialized exactly how I wanted it. And it has all to do with one thing: thoughts. It did not happen from pure luck. All luck is not understanding something enough. That's what luck is. For if you had an understanding of everything, you purely understood something, you're gonna win. Let's say poker, right? You're counting cards, you're seeing how the guy shuffled the deck, and you're like, okay, well, I knew that jack was near the back, and then counting cards, and you're doing all that shit. Well, what's gonna happen? You're gonna have a better idea because of the more that you're thinking about it, the more that you're analyzing, the more that you're bringing evidence and reasoning to your game, to your logic. So all of a sudden now you have two jacks, and then all of a sudden, or no, let's just not even say two jacks. Let's say two jacks show up, you have one of the jacks. Nah, that's even a bad analogy. Let's just say you knew that where the jack was, and you know who has the jack, right? Then you're gonna play accordingly, because you are counting cards and you're looking and you're seeing how the guy shuffled or whatever, right? You knew that the very bottom was the jack, right? So that couldn't be there, and then he has the other one or whatever, right? That's thought. That's not luck. The people that are best in poker are not best in poker because of luck. Now, some of it has to do with luck in terms of risk, but most of it has to do with skill. That goes with everything in your life. The movie The Secret. I call it a movie. I don't want to call it a documentary. I don't know what the fuck to call it. The film. The Secret. Some of you guys have seen it. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or whatever, but I'm sure you can find it for free online. And it has all these experiences of people who manifest in their mind a thought. I want this house. So they put a house, right, on a board. This house costs $2 million. Right now I'm making $30,000 a year. But I want that $2 million house. So every day they go to their office and they're seeing this house that is put onto their bulletin board. They have a nice car or whatever. And this manifests in their mind. The more that picture plays in their mind, the more that they are motivated, and their intention to achieve that skyrockets, right? Then, all of a sudden, I'm pretty confident it's bullshit in the film. But the guy says that, hey, the same house that was on his board for like 10 years or whatever. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so don't quote me on this. But he said something similar to that exact house I bought. And it wasn't until I was gathering up my stuff. Again, I'm bullshitting this. I don't remember exactly, but he looks at the picture again of the house that he was using to ideologize or to manufacture into reality. He bought that house that he had on his wall, and he didn't even realize it. That's how much it manifested. Again, I don't know if that's bullshit. It sounds bullshit to me. It's woo shit. But there is a real thing out there about putting something in your brain and then bringing it into reality. Nothing can happen in reality without thoughts, right? Even in the Bible, if you're a Christian, everything started with thoughts. And you manifest into reality through intention, right? So there's something called the universe. And this could be a way that the English language was able to describe something, right? Because back when the English language and the other Latin languages were made, they were made under the guise of Catholicism. I don't know if you guys knew that. Or not Catholicism, like Christianity. Maybe Catholicism. Hold on. Let me think. I don't remember. Don't quote me. Again, I'm just thinking. But the point is, there's a word called universe. Uni meaning one, verse meaning spoke. So, in the Bible it says, God created the universe through speech. One verse, God created. God spoke one thing, the universe was created, right? So, what happens to speak? You need to think. You can't just, I know a lot of people are thinking right now like, yeah, I know people that don't even think when they talk. People think when they talk, even if it might seem like they don't have control over their mouth or whatever. They're thinking. In order for a word to come out, you got to have a concept of what that word means, right? And that's what thought provokes. It provokes an intention. And a lot of ways to bring out an intention or communication is through speech. Watch my video on language. And if God spoke the universe, he had an idea to create the universe. And he had the intention. Therefore, he spoke it. Right? So, the idea of anything being here is through thoughts. Now, get this one straight. Consciousness has never come from unconsciousness. There is no proof of it. There's only theories of Big Bangs and we're made of stardust bullshit, right? Which, to my knowledge, no one's ever gathered star particles and came back to Earth to measure it up with humans, right? This is just fucking bullshit scientists say, which I do have to make a video talking about the religion of science in 2018. It's not true science like everyone thinks it is. Anyways, consciousness stems from consciousness. In order to birth consciousness, it is required to have consciousness birthing that consciousness. In order to create a house, a dwelling, a tool, my truck that I'm driving, it requires consciousness. Now, what is consciousness? Because I'm going to make a video on that, about consciousness, relatively soon. What is consciousness? Consciousness is awareness. Now, if you're aware of something, there's a level of thought. This can be in an ant, this can be in a human, this can be even in an amoeba or a single-celled organism. There is a level of thought, even without a brain, or at least a brain our size. Even in a cell wall, we can distinguish what parts do what holds a memory, what holds genetics, etc. Right? So, we all have free will and thoughts, even as small a form as an ant. Now, a lot of people think ants are robots. It's not the case. They have antennae, right? That they search frequency and vibration. As a human, our antennae is right here. This is how we can align with the divine. Our antennae is our pineal gland, aka your third eye, right? Which once upon a time was useful, very useful, until genetic engineering and dumbing down of the species, etc., which is called devolving our species. We have devolved to not use things that would increase our consciousness because they want us dumb, right? Since a young age, you are dumbed down to not think. Therefore, the greatest things in life are not manufactured or manifested into reality because you have not thought about it, right? So just like the movie The Secret, I do something similar. I wanted to move down to Florida for years and years and years, but I was on probation. I had things holding me down. I couldn't leave the county. The second I can move out, and I saved up money, it was all because I wanted to move down to Florida for years. I've wanted to move down there. I went down with my stepdad to make sure that's what I wanted to do. I went down there, I visited, and I realized that's exactly what I want to do. Put it in my mind, found where I wanted. Hey, I would want to live on the peninsula. I would want to do this. I would want to do that. And you put it into your mind through your level of motivation and intention and your awareness and your abilities. You put all of these things together, I'm going to have to show you guys something here in a second. You put all those things together, and I'm going to take a break here for a second, which is weird, but I'm going to take a break. Let me show you something real quick. I don't know if you can see that. Again, I'm not sure what you can see on there. I think the car got jacked. Literally. Anyways, let's dive back into what I was saying. Let's finish this fucking thing. I didn't want it to be this long. What was I talking about? Because I wanted to show you guys that car got all its tires taken from it. Went down to Florida. I saw what I wanted. I have the resources. I put in my mind for years to make that happen. Therefore, I made it manifest into reality. I wanted to live next to the beach. I love being at the beach. I love being outdoors, being at the beach. Get a nice tan. At the time, I didn't have a driver's license when I went down. And things all work out depending on your level of intention. I didn't have a driver's license, and I was able to get my stepdad to drive me all the way down to Florida from New York. And my stepdad did it willingly. Why? Not that he wanted to do it. My intention was that in which was so powerful, nothing can stop it. No matter what it was, nothing could stop me from my goal. It's because my thought, my intention, and my motivation derived from something that I believed was real. My intention was so strong. It's the same thing when people invent things. They're like, I'm sure I can make this work, and they make it work. It's the same thing with anything, right? Millionaires that were born poor, right? Do you think Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy, do you think Jeff Bezos would be a millionaire right now, billionaire right now, if he didn't think about stuff? Come on. Look who does not think. The general population who do not think are poorer, have not driving the best vehicles, alcoholics, drug addicts. Who doesn't think? Come on. Television watchers, people that are in the entertainment mindset. They need to be entertained because they don't want to have unique individual thought. They want entertainment brought to them. And they're willing to spend resources for that, right? And then they can't manufacture or manifest their unique thought because it was never there, right? You can't create something without your mind. It can't be created. You need consciousness in order to create your reality. If you change the way that you think, the things that you look at begin to change. If you're a Democrat and you're watching CNN, this goes into your thought process. Your whole life is going to be a manifestation of that in which you already believe. Straight up. If you're watching Fox News, those ideological talking points will manifest and become that into which will affect all of your reality. Because you create your reality through your mind. What happens in your life is a direct result of what you believed was going to happen. You're a black person and you think there's systemic racism and white people get all the jobs. And then you go to the job and you already have that mindset of they're going to give it to this fucking white. I almost said white nigga, but this white dude. They're going to give it to this white dude. Well, what will inevitably happen in that scenario? That reinforcement of what you thought was going to happen. You have manifested that in which you thought was going to happen because that was your intention, would have happened. To reinforce your beliefs. Will happen. I'm not going to get that girl. She's way out of my league. You're not going to get that girl. She's way out of your league. Boom. Oh, I can talk to this girl. You're going to be able to talk to that girl. It's all in here. Anything that you want in life will derive from your thoughts. And if you change your thoughts, that in which that you've changed and intended to happen will inevitably happen. You want a good house, you want a good wife, you want this and the third, you can make that happen. It's your level of intention. Straight up. And what is intention? It's your thoughts. And it's your belief that you are motivated enough to make that happen. That's your intention to make that happen. You create that. That's intention. The only thing that can counteract your intention is a counter intention. So this would be, you go up to a girl, oh, I can get that girl. And you have a, I can kind of get that girl. And then the girl looks at you, hell no. Who's going to win in that intention debate? Oh, hell no. That's no way in fucking hell this dude's talking to me. And then you're like, I can get that girl. But if your thing was, I'm definitely getting this girl. There's no fucking way this girl's turning me down. I'm going to make her be so happy, and you're intending it, and then your ability to make that happen somehow happens. Right? It's a little secret that I've learned in life. Your thoughts changes everything. But also your thoughts can bring you to bad places. Again, you're this black guy, you're going up against a white guy to get a career position. What's going to happen? If you think, well, I know my resume, I'm very good, I'm a great speaker, everyone loves me. This white guy is like, come on, he's white trash. He doesn't have good lingo. I'm sure he doesn't have a resume like mine. He's not motivated and his intention isn't there with me. Who's going to win? Maybe you're going to win. Because that's where you put your mind. And then if you put that frequency out there and that vibration into the world, that interviewer's going to see that. See that you deserve this job. That dude doesn't. But if you go into there like, oh man, this white dude, fuck, he probably went to college, fuck. And you have that mentality and vibration and frequency, it's going to buzz off your aura. It's going to reach the room. It's going to show you're not ready. It's in your thoughts. Nothing is systemic. It's all your thoughts. You have created this. Now, again, intention trumps intention. It's the only thing. Whoever has more intention. Football game. Two teams are colliding. It's your intention plus your skills plus all the things that you're working on that's going to help you win. You ever hear the term any given Sunday? It's true. One guy on your team might not be up to par that day, might be sick, doesn't have the intention to play well, just not motivated. Well, and you're trying to cover this fucking wide receiver. Well, what's going to happen? That wide receiver's like, oh, I'm going to get this all day long. Psh, catch, touchdown. You know? It's your level of intention that is going to win you in life and make you more successful. And me personally, just like the secret guy that put the house on the bulletin board, I too look at Zillow or other apps for houses for sale. And I look and I'm like, I want that so much. I'm going to get that. And there's nothing that's going to stop me. That's how I think about things. If I'm that passionate, I'm going to do it. There's absolutely no fucking way that is going to slip through my hands. There's no fucking way. That's what I want. I want a house out in the middle of nowhere, raise children, grow my own fruit, vegetables, have my own hog pen, shit like that. I want that. I want a boat. I want a truck. I want a lot of things. And my intention is so great, nothing can stop me. So, if you're that type of person, I'm broke. I'm living a 9-to-5. I'm living check to paycheck. I'm a bum out on the streets. I haven't had a job in 10 years. Whoever the fuck you are, you're in that situation. Because somewhere along the lines, that's where your intention has brought you. That's where your belief structure has brought you. I never, until I was 29 years old, the most I've ever made was $20K a year, and I had to work 6-7 days a week for that, for $20K. That was just a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was making $20K a year, working nonstop. Because I thought, there's no way I can get a good job. Hey, if there's no way I'm going to get a good job, what do you think's going to happen? I'm not going to get a good job. And then all of a sudden I trigger my mind. You know what? I can do trucking. I can make some money. That's something I would like. I can make videos in the truck. I can enjoy my life when I'm outside the truck. I can save up money. And I can make more money. Guess what fucking happened? When I changed the way I saw things, those things started to manifest in the way that I wanted it to. Understand that. The way that I saw things inevitably changed and molded to the way that I intended it to be. Of course, a lot of people are saying, I intended my husband or wife to be this great person, and look at this shithead. Well, what was that last thing you said? I have a shithead. That's what it's gonna be. Until you say, I have a great wife. Right? This is why I'm against punishments. And I'm gonna say this real quick. I didn't expect it to be this long. There's a tribe in Africa. And I go back to this once in a while, watch my video on punishments. It's my least viewed video, which is so important. And I'm going to have to redo that whole video and, put it to my new subscribers. So you guys understand what I'm talking about. Tribe in Africa. Instead of punishing those who have done wrong, who stole or did something bad, right? Immoral. Instead of punishing them, what they do is they put this guy, or whoever did the crime, around their whole tribe. And what the tribe does is they celebrate him. All the things that the person has done good. And what this instills is good into the person. It changes where they were mentally to being good. you're good. I'm not saying enable, but just talking about the things that that person has done good. Not enabling the bad, but just saying, hey, you did this. Remember when you did this to me? You let me sleep in your house when I had nowhere to stay? Talking like that to the person. That's how they deal with crime amongst their tribe. They talk about, oh, you've done this good. And in their mind, they're like, I'm a good person. Look at all that I've done good. A lot of religious people do this as well. I'm a good person. I just need this horrible thing. I need prayer. Right? So then the pastor comes up and lays hands and says, you're a good person. I feel that you're a good person. Good. Let's, rebuke the evil that's in you or whatever, right? But in today's society, we don't do that. When your wife yells at you, you go straight to, you're a fucking bitch. You don't do the, oh, you were so nice yesterday. I love that. Yesterday we were so kind to each other. No, you're like, I can't believe you fucking said that, bitch. Something like that, right? Something that is reinstating and is actually enabling more evil. When someone does wrong in America, does a crime, stole from somebody else, instead of giving back that stolen thing, and whether that's money, whether that's possession of TV, whatever, right? Instead of giving it back and saying sorry and maybe I'll work for you to make up for it or something like that, they put him in prison or jail, which all their friends and family got to hear that you're a bad person, and this bad person will emulate and bad vibrations. Instead of correcting or figuring out what's good. And they're just told, you're bad, you're going to jail, now you're around other bad people, and bad and evil's just going to infuriate your existence. Right? This is through thought. The frequency and vibration and the thoughts will manifest in a way which will become you. Especially as a television watcher. Especially when you turn on TV and, it's thought. So what will manifest is what you're told. George Bush says 9/11 happened because of terrorism. Terrorism. The more you've heard terrorism, the more you believed it. Not only the more you believed it, but the more you believed it without question. See, if George Bush Jr.
Say a command.
Just said, oh, this is probably terrorism, you'd be like, oh, I wonder what it actually is. But because it was given to you over and over, terrorism, Osama bin Laden, Afghanistan, but somehow we got to go into Iraq. Some guys in caves that somehow orchestrated a very high-tech involvement. Anyways, this video got way too long, but understand where it all derives from. Everything that happens in your life, everything happens here. And I'm going to tell you a little quick woo secret about that. If I feel good about getting a lotto ticket, I'll get a lotto ticket. Straight up, if I feel good about it, I usually get 2 tickets, a $1 and a $2, or 2 different $2. It could be of the other guy's choice, it could be of mine. It's how I feel. And I don't do this every day, and I don't do it for money, I don't do it just to get into it. But this is very close to 100% accurate. At least one of those tickets I'm going to get is going to make up for both of those tickets or more. All right? I'll win $20 on $3 worth of scratch-offs. Then I go to the next state, and I'm like, I'm catching that feeling again. Now I'm in Missouri, and, I'm catching that feeling right there. I'm going to win. I've already put it in my mind that I'm going to win. Now, I don't let that go to my head. Because back in the past, I used to do that and be like, oh, I win. I always win. I'm just so good. I'm so lucky. But the truth is, I felt that vibration of something that was going to be a result. And I felt the result before it happened. Same thing before Conor McGregor knocked out someone, before they even stared down the day before at weigh-ins. He's already envisioned how that was going to happen. Same thing Mike Tyson. When he's staring at you at the weigh-ins, and he's staring at you and staring at you with his eyes, and he's like, and then all of a sudden he sees that flick in that guy's eyes, right? And the guy's eyes just goes like this, like kind of like away, like Mike Tyson's like, I found it. That's how I'm fucking knocking you out. You know what I'm saying? You see that, and it becomes that because the thought, and then it will manifest. It's a power. It's a superpower, and everyone has access to it. It's called thinking. Thanks, guys. Enough for this video. I hate that it's fucking 50 minutes long, but stay tuned for more content. Plenty more coming. See you guys.